In this lecture, we'll go through the installation process for Visual Studio. C# is available in Visual Studio on both Windows and Mac, so Visual Studio is the integrated development environment we'll use for our C# programming in this course and in all the courses in the specialization. No matter what operating system you're using, you're not really learning Visual Studio, you're learning C#, both in and out of Unity. So realize that even though you need to use Visual Studio, what you're really learning is C# programming and Unity. Let's go get Visual Studio installed. We start by going to visualstudio.com. And as you can see, there are a number of different pieces of software in the Visual Studio family. Obviously, if you're on a Mac, you should download Visual Studio for Mac. And if you're on Windows, you should download Visual Studio. And we're going to pick the Community Edition because that's the free one, and it has all the features that we need in the courses in the specialization. Some of you will be tempted to come over here to the blue area and download Visual Studio Code. Don't do that. That's the wrong piece of software for the courses in the specialization. It's over here on the left, Visual Studio Community. Just click the link and wait for it to download, and then we'll go execute that installer. When you fire up the installer, it will say it needs to set up a few things, so you should say continue. And there are a few workloads and individual components that we want to make sure get installed. In the workloads, we want to scroll down and we want to pick .NET Desktop Development, and we want to come down to Gaming and pick Game Development with Unity. You can certainly install other workloads if you want to. If you want to do some Unreal game development, you should pick this Game Development with C++ workload as well. But for the courses in this specialization, we need to be able to build what are called console apps or console applications, and we want to be able to integrate with Unity. So you need to make sure you select both of those workloads. Under individual components, we want to make sure that we're installing the .NET 5.0 runtime, and we'll see why we need to do that when we build our first console app. And I'm going to scroll down to Code Tools, and I'm going to click the Help Viewer. And that lets you view help locally on your machine instead of being connected to the internet and going to the online help. If you don't want to do that, if you just always want to use online help, you don't need the help viewer, but it doesn't take up much space, so I suggest you install that as well. Once you've picked those two workloads and this additional help viewer code tool, you just click the install button down in the lower right here, and then you wait patiently until everything is installed. To recap, as a reminder, you're learning C# programming both in and out of Unity. You're not really learning Visual Studio, even though you of course need to use Visual Studio as you do your programming. With that said, you should go install Visual Studio.